Thank you very much, Jeff, and I'm delighted to be following Tracy and Paul. In keeping with their theme, I'm filled with gratitude that I've gotten to know them a little. They're wonderful. Today, I want to talk to you about how I've spent the last few years. I've spent the last few years subjecting myself to a lot of pain and humiliation, but hopefully for a good cause, and that is self-improvement. Turns out I needed a lot of improvement. And I've done this in 3 phases. So first I did the mind, then the spirit, and then the body. Starting with the mind, a few years ago I decided I wanted to read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and try to learn everything in this world. And oddly, I came to this idea because my father started to read the encyclopedia when I was a kid, but he only made it up to the middle of the letter B, around Bolivia. Then he kind of got distracted. So I thought, I'm going to try to finish what he began and remove that black mark from our family history. And so I did, and strangely, I loved it. I think I loved it too much because my wife started to fine me $1 for every irrelevant fact I inserted into conversation. So it did have its downsides. But I got to read about thousands of amazing people who overcame all these odds, and it was incredibly inspiring. Of course, I have forgotten quite a bit of it, probably 98%, but I still got that 2%, and that makes me feel good. And by the way, since this is a health conference, I will tell you my favorite health fact, which is that in 1898, the Bayer Aspirin Company introduced a very effective cough suppressant. It was called heroin, and turned out it had some side effects. They had to take it off the market. So the road to wellness is not a straight one. After the mind, I decided to work on my spirit. And this came about because I grew up with no religion at all. As I say in my book, I'm Jewish, but I'm Jewish in the same way the Olive Garden is Italian. So not very. No offense, great breadsticks. But I had sons. I wanted to know what to teach them about my heritage. So I decided one way to learn about the Bible would be to actually dive in and live it and follow all the rules. So I assembled hundreds of rules, and I wanted to follow the famous ones, which were hard enough. You know, the Bible says that you cannot gossip or lie or covet. And I am a journalist, and I live in New York City, so that's like 80% of my day. That was quite a radical change. But also there's less famous rules. The Bible says you cannot shave the corners of your beard. I didn't know where the corners were, so I just let the whole thing grow. And by the end, I had quite some topiary on my chin. There I am. So as you can imagine, I spent a lot of time at airport security with that look. And there I am in Times Square. The sheep, by the way, that was a rental sheep. I did not have that with me permanently. The Bible says that you should stone adulterers, so I was able to stone one adulterer. I used very small pebbles. That's another story. After that project, I figured I had done the mind, I had done the spirit. Let me finish the trilogy and try to improve my body. And my body really did need quite a bit of help. I wasn't traditionally fat. I was what they call skinny fat. So I looked like a snake that had swallowed a goat. And so I said, I'm going to do this the same way. I'm going to go all in. I got a board of medical advisors, doctors, nutritionists, and trainers, and I made a list of all of the health advice I could find, and that was hundreds of pages. And I followed it. It took me 2 years, and it consumed my life, because if you follow all of the advice, I mean, there is so much to do. You've got to exercise. You've got to meditate, as we've talked about at this conference. You've got to pet dogs. There's lots of research that dogs are good for you. They lower your blood pressure. I didn't have a dog, so I would go to the local dog park and pet other people's dogs, which was met with mixed reaction. You have to have sex. There's a lot of research that sex is healthy. I have 3 young kids, so that didn't always happen as much as possible. You have to prepare your own food because, as we know, processed food is terrible. You have to chew your food. There's lots of research that actually chewing is healthy. It slows down your eating. It gives you more nutrients. Your mother was right. We should chew our food. There's actually on the internet a movement called Chewdeism. And that's their phrase, not mine. But I joined Chewdeism for a while, and I do try to chew my own food. I did all sorts of tests. So there's a brain test and a sleep test. Tried all sorts of diets. I tried every workout I could, so CrossFit or here's stroller sizing. Here's another one where it's called the caveman workout, where you go to the park and you just throw boulders around. And I loved it. But the point, I finished the year and I was healthier, and I came away with a whole lot of takeaways. And I'll just give you a couple today. The first big takeaway is that it's not a big secret what constitutes healthy behavior. You know, you got to eat less, move more, don't stress out, get lots of sleep, don't smoke, eat whole foods, don't eat the standard American diet, which is terrible. You know, don't hit yourself in the face with a shovel. You know, it's pretty obvious stuff. So that's not the trick. The trick is, how do you get yourself to behave in a healthy way? How do you motivate yourself? And that's where I think I learned some secrets. And I'll just leave you with 3 of those strategies that I came up with. One is to reframe the way you look at exercise. A lot of us compartmentalize exercise. So we go to the gym for an hour, and then we think, okay, great, we're done, and we can sit on our butts for the rest of the day in front of our desk. But the studies show that that is not true. It's actually almost as bad as not going to the gym at all. So you've got to incorporate movement into every part of your day. If you're sitting at desk, just get up every half hour. I started to run errands. You know, that's the phrase, run errands. So why not try it? So I would run to the drugstore, I would buy a toothbrush, and run home. I would try to walk as much as I could. I got a treadmill, and I put my laptop on top of the treadmill, and I joined the treadmill desk movement, which is sort of burgeoning right now, and I loved it. It took me about 1,200 miles to write my book, and it keeps me alert. You know, you cannot fall asleep at your desk when you have a treadmill desk, or you're going to crack your skull. So try to incorporate movement and make it more organic instead of compartmentalized. Number 2, quantify. I love the idea of the quantified self movement, where the idea is, and there are studies to back this up, the more you keep track of your personal data, the healthier choices you will make. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You know, I have a Fitbit, doesn't have to be a Fitbit, but I am obsessed with getting to those 10,000 steps a day. And it changes the way you look at your life. So when I lose my wallet in my house, for instance, you know, I am annoyed, but I'm also kind of psyched, because I know I'm going to have to walk around the house and rack up lots of steps. And I like, some people, the competition works for, some it doesn't. For me, competition is very motivating. I compete with my friends to see who can get more steps. Just last week, my friend Paul sent me a certificate on the internet that said, congratulations on your 2nd place victory. Infuriated me, and it motivated me to get out there and start walking again. I also found a website, and I can tell you about it, or tweet me and I'll tell you about it, is where you get points for every step you take. And if you get enough points, then you can donate money, actual real money, to charity. So I donate money to Haiti, to Clean Water for Haiti. And so if I'm sitting, if I'm not walking, I actually feel guilty that I'm depriving people in Haiti of clean water. I feel terrible. So guilt is a great motivator, especially for me, a Jew. And finally, my other strategy is to honor your future self. And the studies show that the more you pay attention to your future self, the better choices you will make. That's my treadmill test. That is, I decided to take this really concretely, and I took a picture of myself and I aged it digitally. There's a program, not the best, you know, if there's a professional out there, I'd like a better, older me, but I put it next to my desk, and it just reminded me, you know, I want to treat that older self the way I would treat a friend or a family member. I want to be kind to them, so I want to go out, I want to eat my vegetables. I want to go out and take a run, because I want that guy to be around. I want him to see my son's weddings. And it reminds me that health is not just about yourself. It's not just about vanity. It's about being around for others. and being around for your friends and family. And once you realize that, I think that is the ultimate motivation. Thank you very much.